Good evening, everybody. I do so hope I've got all these bits and pieces working tonight. How's everybody doing? Having a good Tuesday, short week this week for my American friends. Robert, you really do like that Gary Larson approach to humor? I do too. I mean, I can't take a macro photograph without thinking what Gary Larson would have made of it. Excellent. Hey, Mike. Welcome from La La Land. What is that? Oh, LA. Yeah, there you go. Walter, glad you made it. Oh yeah, when I was growing up, Gary Larson was in the local newspaper every day. He did a comic every day, and I have all of his books. I just loved his humor. So smart and funny. That was very good. Hey Blair, how's tomorrow going? Oh dear. Boy, do I have a lot of stuff for you guys tonight. What should I start with? The exciting announcement stuff, or should I just wing it? Let's just wing it. Let's start with the bug study, because it's important. Because you're going to think I'm just going to make an excuse now. That's what you're thinking. But that's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to move YouTube out of the way on the other screen and share it with you. It's because what I'm getting ready to say is part of one of my announcements. So let me show you my other screen, and you're going to get to see part of a video that hasn't been finished yet. How about that? This is Premiere Pro, where I'm editing what has become the most challenging edit I've ever done on a video. This one's a monster because it's got so many parts in it from this long period of study with the insects. Anyway, the reason I'm showing you that is, don't look at the timeline, but it says 1 minute and 22 seconds. I've gone further than I really have gone further than that. I was going back to check something, but the reason I'm showing you this is I have decided that I am going to do some impromptu, unannounced live streams just when I'm editing video or editing pictures or just sitting here working. I decided I'd like to have the company. So that's what I'm going to do. And I just wanted to tell you, if you have any interest at all in dropping by, which I can't tell you when it will be because I have no idea. But if you do that bell thing on one of my videos where it'll let you know when I put out a video, it'll also let you know when I'm going to live stream. And seeing as I'm just going to do this for an hour or so when I'm working and have the company, yeah, ring the bell and they'll tell you. They'll send you an email or something or a text. I don't know how they do it, but they'll do something. And that way you can just come and yeah, watch how I edit pictures, and I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm not going to ignore you or anything, but yeah. So there you go. That's what I'm going to do. That's one of the things I was going to announce. The other thing I was going to tell you about was, did you know it was Thanksgiving this week? I just found out when somebody wished me a happy Thanksgiving. I thought that was in December. No, apparently not. There is a workshop here in this room and that room in January, and I am putting the finishing touches on the details, and I will announce it and let you guys know when it is in case you want to come. It is going to be an extreme macro indoor workshop because it's going to be in January, which is our cold week of the year down here. So I'll give you all the details as soon as the paperwork is finished. It's going to be a small group, so if you want to come, you'll need to let me know right away. Details to follow. Patreon folks, some of you are here this evening. There is a 2-hour knitter natter scheduled for Saturday morning. I said Sunday afternoon in the email I sent out. That was foolish, and it was a mistake. I was thinking of, I got my numbers mixed up. It's actually the 26th, which is Saturday, which is several days after Thanksgiving, so you should be almost completely recovered. And we're going to start at 2 o'clock in the afternoon Central Time, 2 hours. So anybody who is in Patreon and wants to come and just wag the chin for an hour or two, come along. I've got all kinds of stuff I want to talk about there too. I've got lots of macro stuff. Beginners series. I have once again lapsed into the bad behavior of ignoring the folks who are early in their macro career, and I know that a lot of you get frustrated when I'm doing crazy stuff like I'm going to be doing tonight. But I met with my student recently, and we have got our training thing back on schedule so that we'll be recording videos and you'll get to partake of that. So that's going to be very much for people who are just beginning. We've got a whole bunch of videos recently shot that will be coming out as soon as I can get to editing them. Last thing before we get cracking this evening, December the 15th. As of right now, no, this is not the last thing. There's one thing after this. December the 15th is our first potentially monthly, could be more or less frequently than that, Photoshop for Macro live stream thing. People have already sent me photographs. Apton, thank you very much for sending me that lovely spider. That's going to be a beast to edit. So that's going to be on 8 o'clock, at 8 o'clock on the 15th of December. We're going to be doing this one on location, an undisclosed location where Bud Parrott lives, who's going to be my co-editor for this whole shebang. So if you have any interest in using Photoshop in Macro, this is something you probably want to attend. Bud and I on the 15th of December, 8 o'clock in the evening. All right, if you have an image you want to get in, you better hurry up and get it in, or your chance will be lost. The last thing I'm going to say, December the 8th, which is a Thursday, a week before that 15th. I'm going backwards with the announcements. By popular demand and request from you guys, I talked to Steve Axford, the Australian wunderkind of mushroom macro photography. He really has to be the most accomplished mushroom photographer in the world, and he's coming to talk to me, which is wonderful. I'm so excited about it. Kath Marciniak, which is his partner, is going to come with him, so there'll be 3 of us, and we're going to talk everything about Australia and mushrooms and kangaroos and Ayers Rock and the Himalayas. For those of you who don't know, the Himalayas are not in Australia. He had to go there looking for mushrooms, which makes me think somebody was having him on, because I saw that program Everest, and there definitely weren't any mushrooms on Everest. So anyway, we'll talk to him about that. I'll ask him some pointed questions about that trip. Okay, I'm going to look at the messages as I ramble so that I can say hi to anybody I've missed, like Allan and Toluca and Arthur. Hey everybody. Susan, Jan, welcome. Glad you made it, sir. Bruce. Oh, it's tomorrow, Bruce. Good day, good morning. Gilles. Adolfo. Oh my goodness, we have our first Peruvian. That's fantastic, Adolfo. I think we've got the rest of South America covered, but glad you made it. Glad you made it. All right. Let me see. I don't see a big question anywhere that's cooking, so I'll keep saying hi. Phil, welcome. Gustavo from San Antonio. I was in the military in San Antonio. Yeah, that was a dangerous place to be. Good evening, Mr. Parrott. My other half of the Photoshop for Macro team has showed up. That's wonderful. And he's given away his secret of where he lives too. So much for my subterfuge. Patrick, good morning, evening. No, it's morning. Very, very early morning for you, I know. Oh gosh, don't tell me. The Netherlands. Close? Steve? Are you fully in winter up there, Steve, in Canada? I bet you are by now, aren't you? Amy, glad you made it. Bryce McQuillan, I don't believe it. Bryce, it's so good to see you. Bryce, meet everybody. Everybody meet Bryce. Bryce is the gentleman whose Instagram I hooked you up with last week. Bryce is a friend of mine from New Zealand, and we have been trying to get together so that we could organize a chat that you guys can attend with us. But so good to see you, Bryce. I'm glad you made it. Paul has a question. In setting up the Mitutoyo 5X objective with the DCR 150, what is the optimal method to adjust the distance from the relay lens to the image plane? Well, in this case, in every case, when you're setting up an asymmetric lens like the Raynox or the ITL 200, you position it in relation to the sensor. You position it wherever it is focused at the length you want to focus at, which is almost always infinity. So the answer for my Raynox copy was about 208 millimeters from the sensor, but it might not be for yours. It is not commonly understood. It wasn't understood by me for the longest time anyway, that the focal length of the lens, of the relay lens, is not always the same as the distance from the sensor. Look at your 600 millimeter bird lens and you'll see what I mean. When the lens is not symmetrical, it can vary greatly, the separation between the two. So what you need to do is take the relay lens on your camera, on extension, somewhere where you can look far away. Outdoors is usually it, unless you have a very, very big house. Look far away and focus the relay lens by moving the distance, the bellows or extension tubes or whatever, towards and away from the sensor. As soon as you're focused at infinity, that is the distance at which your separation needs to be set for when you put the objective on. And that is the distance at which the objective will work better. Now, there are some lenses that work even better if you were to pull them back a little bit. Pull the relay lens back closer to the sensor, and as a result of doing that, you're actually focusing beyond infinity. But for several of the lenses that we like to use, there is a short focus distance that gives you less magnification, but can be very, very sharp. 148 millimeters, I think it is, for the DCR 150. The short version is put it at 200 to 208 millimeters, and you'll probably get a pretty fantastic picture. Did that answer your question? Probably too much. Probably wanted me to shut up about a third of the way in, but that's the full answer. Hey, Borderland Peppers, welcome back. It's always very gratifying to see somebody come and visit for the first time and not run screaming from the live stream, never to show up again. That's great. Paul, I hope that answered your question. It is complicated, but focus at infinity and you'll be set. Hey, John, how's things going in Northern Ireland? And Leroy Boss has a question. Boss 30,333. That must mean something. Is it a prime number? Don't know. Question, how do you control the vibration and light for 50 and 100 times magnification? Yeah, the light is just more of it and flatter, so that it gets to the objective. Those lenses have massive numeric apertures, and they will gather the light okay. With a modern camera, you'll do okay. Vibration is the real killer at that magnification. You have to absolutely dedicate part of your home with a concrete floor, anti-vibration shock mounting on your platform, and you just have to have strict behavior around it. No, you can't move in the same room. You can't even set up air currents in the same room. It's crazy. I know a lot of people who when they get to 50x will not do it on a traditional macro rig. At that kind of magnification, the only way you can really get control of the vibration is with some kind of a vertical setup, with all kinds of shock mounting and padding to just to isolate you. You have to isolate the whole rig, the camera, the tube system or whatever you're using, and the specimen all need to be on the same base. And yeah, it's everything I've told you to control vibrations in any system times 100. So you couldn't have managed it at I tried it at my other house and it was just hopeless. I could probably do it here though. Laura, welcome. It's not a very good answer, was it, boss? I've been meaning to do a video actually on ridiculously high magnification stuff. I'm doing some high magnification stuff tonight, by the way. Should I get on with that and show you this before we run out of time? Because that will happen, because I'm not good with time. No, there's one thing I'm going to tell you first. There is you might not know this, but there is an annual drive that happens every holiday season. This is the first year, which is why you probably have never heard of it, to replace the MF12s that somebody broke in the year previous. And we have a target. And there is a thing somewhere on your page at the bottom. There's a dollar bill that I discovered, and I was going to talk about this last week and forgot. But I think if you press that dollar bill, something happens, like they take some money from you and give it to me. If that's true, if that's true, I'm all about that. I want to get a couple more MF12s. Actually, I want to get 4 more of them because I've already broken 2. And yeah, so that's the thing. Somebody told me today at great length what I had to say that would appeal to people to help with this. Oh, I remember what it was. I had to make it urgent. It's urgent. All right, that's it. I'll remind you of it only very, very rarely. But so far we have $75, by the way, in the kitty. The person who was advising me gave me $75 to put in. So there's $75 in there. Our target tonight is to try to get to $100. Oh, dearie me. This is my poor old mother. She would just be turning over in her grave thinking of me publicly doing that. Oh dear. All right. Let me turn your attention to something more microscopic. You can still see me though when we do this because I set it up quite cleverly. I'm going to show you something that I refer to in the video that's coming out in another, I don't know, 7 or 8 months, I think. But when this video comes out, you'll hear me talking about a new technique for using the Wii Macro to do a kind of photography that I've never heard of before, but I kind of discovered it by accident while I was trying to photograph some mold. I ordered some weevils from Russia, and they arrived, and there was a little bit of mold in the package, and the mold got worse as it ate the bugs. And I didn't want to send the bugs back because I wanted to photograph the mold and the bugs. So here's what I did. I set it up on the high power 20x rig with the long extension. This is 245 millimeters from the sensor. I'm using a mirrorless camera, and that's important. I'm using a 20x objective, and I'm using an ITL 200 relay lens set up with about 75 millimeters of infinity space. Now, you're going to see me now do things that I swore I would never do. Continuous light, no gaps in the shooting. Most of this came from talking to people who have got on the mirrorless bandwagon here of late, and are using mirrorless cameras in silent mode with continuous lighting and shooting rapidly. This is very foreign to me, not something I'd ever done, but I discovered something cool about the Wii Macro, and that's what I want to show you. I'm going to try to show you my phone so that you can see what it is I'm doing. Oh, it still works great. I set it up so the Bluetooth wouldn't forget it for a little while. So here's what I did. I'll show you my screen. I set up a stack of some, like, oh, hang on, before somebody says, hey, Alan, oi, you're not pointing the camera at the right thing. So I set it up at something like 1400 steps or something. 2 micron steps, or did I change it to 3? 3, I'm going to change it to 2. You'll see why in just a second. Whenever you change something, you have to hit confirm, and that's what I just did. So now we're on 2 micron steps, and we've got 1,000 of them, or whatever, all night long. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hit confirm, and then use the controls and the camera to position my objective over the wing of a butterfly. I was using a weevil, of course, but a butterfly is prettier. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect the camera you're looking through, and I'm going to connect the microscope. Watch this bit of magic. Hang on. I pulled the wrong wire out. I practiced this afternoon, and I only electrocuted myself once. Oh boy, it works. So I'll tell you what I'm doing, seeing as you won't be able to see me, but what I'm doing is I'm going to focus with the Wii Macro in tiny little bumps until, oh, I'll turn the lights on too. You didn't see that. I've got a little LED on one side and then a bigger LED on the other. Ooh, that's a bit bright. I'll back that off a bit. This is a lovely little butterfly. It's a, I'm reading the back of the packet, in it, Eumaeus minius. Minius mouseus. So, all right, you've got some lovely little scales there. This thing's teeny tiny, by the way. I'll show it to you in a minute. But what I'm going to do then is get it focused a little bit. Oh, too far. So I'm moving backwards, and I get it just out of focus like that. That's all I'm going to do. I'm not hitting backlash compensation or anything else. I'm just getting ready to hit run. And I'm going to stop leaning on the table. I'm going to run it, and you'll see how fast this thing goes. So what I do is I just let it run at 2 micron steps while I wander off and do something. And every now and again I look at the screen to see how we're doing. And in just a few minutes, it's going to be all the way through what I'm interested in. And I'll show you what this does that the stack shot can't do. The reason I came up with this rapid surface shot type thing is because I wanted to document the fruiting bodies of the mold that were all over the weevil. And that took a lot of different shots, and I didn't want to have to stop and set it all up again because of the way the phone disconnects. So I thought, well, what if I just make one gigantic stack and pause the stack and reacquire a different part of the specimen? Turns out you can do that all day long and basically just shoot non-stop. Now, the first time I did this, I was using the same crazy short 1 second interval with the MF12s, and they flashed the whole time for 3 or 4 big shots. We're almost through. Sorry, I jogged the table then. Let's say we're through. Right, I don't want to waste your time, so we'll say that was hang on, my phone's gone to sleep. So we stop. Now what I'll do is I'll ever so carefully move my I positioned it where in one of the few spots where there are red and blue scales together. I'll just reposition it to another part. There we go. Oh, it's a bit messy there, isn't it? Okay, that'll do. That's sufficiently novel. And then what I'll do is I will position it again vertically by moving it backwards just until everything's out of focus, like that. I don't know why it's blinking like that. Oh dear, where did the picture go? That might be yeah, okay. It came back on for a second, didn't it? I wonder if... Okay, so I've moved it back above the beginning of focus. Now I'm just going to hit run again. And it starts again. Now, this to me, as a busy guy, was fantastic to discover. And I was able to go over this bug really quickly but really thoroughly. And every time I saw a fruiting body from the mold, I would stop, back up a little bit height-wise, and shoot the stack. Now, the mold fruiting bodies are 100 microns across, if that. So I was able to shoot a bunch of them very quickly. I mean very quickly. And this is just a really cool way to do a surveillance type thing. Now, if I wanted to frame a picture of a fruiting body mold, no, a mold fruiting body, if I wanted a good picture of it, I would need to slow things down and get the lighting better and use flash and everything. But the point is, this thing really rocks like this. It's a great tool to have. I never thought I'd hear myself say it, but if you've got a mirrorless camera and a wee macro, you can't do this on the stack shot. It won't do it. You can't pause it. When you stop the stack shot, it stops and you have to start over again. And the whole beauty of this is you don't have to start over again. Is anybody slightly impressed at all? Be impressed. I think you should. I was thrilled. I mentioned it in passing to Mr. Littlefield, and he said nothing about it, but went off and I think he did some research and came back and said nobody's ever talked about doing that on photomacrography.net. And that's the same as saying, I don't believe you. Because if nobody's ever talked about it, it's not real. But it's real. That's why I decided to show you tonight. You want to see one more look at the pictures marching by? The light's pretty terrible. I would have turned it up, actually. I'm afraid to press the buttons, it'll jiggle it. I'm not going to keep these pictures anyway. But anyway, that's all it was. I'm going to switch it back to me and then the looking at the microscope. So what do you think? You think that's something you might use? Probably not. Hang on a sec, I'm going to turn the camera on. Chat amongst yourselves. There we go. So, that was worth free, wasn't it? Put $1 in the money thing for that one. So, if you're doing something like you're just trying to collect data points for something, you're trying to document the scales on a butterfly's wing. I'm going to stop this thing. I had to stop it because I would just start talking and it would drive right the way through that slide I've got the wing on. Let me show you the butterfly. Oh dear. The butterfly just took flight. I have really enjoyed doing this this insect study because going back through all of my insects, I have taken thousands of pictures and I'm trying to get them all in the... You can't see it because I'm pointed at the wrong camera again. Beautiful, isn't it? It has scales that look very much like a day-flying moth, a Southeast Asian day-flying moth, but it's even prettier on the inside. Let him go back in his bag here. This is one of the last things I haven't photographed. I should be checking my questions. Hey Ron, how's it going? I'm gonna have to do this later. The thing is, I sneezed earlier and this guy went halfway across the house. So, yeah, there we are. So, I feel like I've been ignoring my guests. So that is a cool thing if you're just needing to get a bunch of photographs of something, the surface of something, and you're in a hurry. It's just a great way to do it. And I wonder if I can actually show you a couple of the mold pictures. Would you like to see them? I don't hear you. Oh yeah, here they are. I'll put you back on the big TV screen. There we go. So maybe you can't actually, yeah, you can. I was going to say you can't edit in Premiere. That's one of the 3 of the fruiting bodies that I was able to photograph on the piece of matted cotton that the insects were on. They're not great pictures, but these were shot with me standing right next to the thing and zooming on through, and I did several of them. This is what the bugs look like. You can see the little dots of mold, and if you look closely at the bugs, they're in terrible shape. See these are the fruiting bodies. These weevils are only 2 or 3 millimeters long. They're really the tiniest I've ever seen. And they're filthy and covered in dirt as well as mold. But that's what I was dealing with. And I got one picture of one of these after I cleaned it. It took 3 hours with a paintbrush to literally pull off every hyphal element and every fruiting body off its torso and legs, and I left something on its knee. If you can see that right there, it's a blob of something. I don't think it's mold, but my goodness, that's just a tremendous amount of work to get that clean. But you can clean them if it's an important. Oh, it doesn't look very clean there though, does it? When you look close, but that's the only thing I forgot to get. Anyway, I will forget now that I put those pictures on the video timeline, and I'll wonder what I was thinking tomorrow. So yeah, where were we? I was hiding the chat thing, so now I can't find it. Hang on a sec, guys. I may have actually closed it. There it is. Okay. So let me see. I'm probably missing questions. Walter has a question. How do you figure out the gear ratio for the Walzo stepper? Is that the thing I made, the box thing with the button on it? Oh, I wish I had it in this room. It's not. It's all the way in the back. I won't get it. I'll bring it next time. For those of you who weren't around then, I just wanted to prove that you could make a manual gear box out of a couple of pieces of wood and plastic gears out of an old printer, and you could use it to turn the handle of a manual rail 1 micron. Of course, you probably can't because of the way tolerances are and all that, but the idea was more of a fun thing to try. And I built this gearbox and I put springs and stuff in it so that it would kind of have a little bit of anti-backlash built in, and it was able to move. I think I was able to move it like 10 microns. The gear ratio, I calculated it. There were 3 gears, and it was like 1 to I'll have to look it up. I can't remember. It was 20 to 47, and then the small one was another 20 up to 67, and then I can't remember what the third one was, but they were big plastic gears. I'll bring it next time and show you. But yeah, if you are mechanically inclined and you can work with metal and you have gears, you can build something just like that with the same gear train in it, and it will give you these tiny steps. Not only did it do that, but when I moved the equivalent of what would be one micron at the output end, I had a spring and a what do you call it, a hook thing on the gear, so it clicked into place, so you could actually tell that you were moving it. This is terrible. That's like describing a horror movie to somebody who didn't see it. I mean, you're making all the right sounds and everything, but nobody's getting the point. I'll bring the thing and show it to you next time, and you'll be impressed. All right, and let me see. 8 p.m. No, Bud's asking about the Photoshop session. I decided that we would leave it at 8 o'clock so that everybody knows, because that's when I do everything at night. So that will be 9 o'clock over there, Bud. Is that okay? If that's not too late. If we turn out having to change that, I'll let everybody know. But as far as I know, we're on for 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern. That one of the reasons is, if we do it at 8 o'clock Eastern, that's getting very early in the evening for the people out west, and they may not be off work by then. That was my thought. That thing happened where it looked like all the viewers disappeared. I have a graph of how many people are watching. I can't turn it off. But last time, everybody disappeared about halfway through and then came back again instantly. Where did you go? Hey, Chris. South Australia. Are you a mushroom photographer by any chance? Are you excited about Steve Axford coming on in a week or two? That's going to be so much fun. If you haven't seen his Steve Axford's Instagram page, I forget what it's called, but search for it, Instagram Steve Axford, it'll show you. It's got a cuter name like Fungus World or something. His photographs and the stuff they have growing down there in Australia, it's amazing. They have glow-in-the-dark mushrooms. Who ever heard of such a thing? Well, I guess they glow in the dark. He might have lit them with something, but all right. Al? Oh, Blair, thank you very much indeed. How much is a New Zealand dollar worth? I got confused by the Canadian dollar not not that long ago. They're not worth very much, actually. But, well, whatever it is, thank you, Blair. I appreciate it hugely. And I need an HDMI hub, says Toluca. Easy camera switching. Yep, yep. I do. And you know what? I had one. In theory, but it's a long story. I won't go there tonight. But you're right. I do, and I will. You kind of took me by surprise there, Toluca. I didn't know how to get out of that once I started it. Yes, it is an impressive looking rig. I'm very, very happy with it. Oh, I remember the other thing I wanted to tell you. I spoke to William at We Macro. He got in touch to tell me he had watched the video and thank you for making it. And you know, they're not sponsoring me or anything, but the fact that he was excited was good. And I asked him point blank about the whole controller thing that I mentioned in the video and that you've heard me gripe about. And he didn't tell me this was secret, so I hope I'm okay spilling the beans on this. They are not building a mechanical controller, but they recognize that for people who use non-Android phones, no names will be mentioned, people who use that kind of phone that I have are having problems. And instead of building a hardwired controller box, and that's a result of not having the time and the capital to invest in that big process, they are building a fleet of decommissioned Android phones that they're going to program for these things and sell as an accessory. And I'm getting one to test. How about that? Isn't that not a brilliant idea? So if you buy a We Macro and you're an iPhone user and you need a more reliable controller, you spend an extra $50 and you get one of these. They're new. They're just not never sold as phones. I thought that was a brilliant idea. So, gosh, I hope I didn't just get in trouble by saying that out loud, but that's what they're going to do. Blair, are those the little dots you showed during the last live stream? Yeah, I did. That was when I was photographing it on the regular setup over there. That was those tiny little black dots on the cotton. And at the time, I didn't know exactly what they were, but they're clearly mold up close. I've sent them off to Allan to ID them. Yeah, I asked what people thought they were, and almost everybody except me knew that they were mold. I don't think I've ever actually studied mold or looked at it closely, let alone photograph it. The Zerine StackShot controller has a pause button. Oh, yes. Thank you very much. That's a good one, but I forgot that. Yes, if you have Zerine running your StackShot, there is a button in the virtual controller that will pause it. And I understand actually that Helicon was in the process of making one as well, a controller for their Focus device. But I don't know what ever happened to that. But anyway, yes, thanks, bud. You're absolutely right. You can pause that. I've not done it on that because I don't run the StackShot with Zerine. That's old-fashioned of me, isn't it? What don't look fresh, Mr. Borderland Peppers? The dead weevils or the fungus? None of it looks very fresh. It didn't smell very fresh either. But that was the only. I had a couple of decapitated bugs in my boxes and boxes of bugs, but that was the only one that had some kind of spoilage, and that surprised me. There was a lot of insects in there. So yeah, they were a little bit past their sell-by date. Gilles, I need to talk to you about that micromate. I have not used it. Um, well, because I don't have a microscope right now. That would be the reason. But that is definitely on the books for next year. I think it's time to get a compound scope, because I have been asked to revitalize my interest in diatoms. I don't know if any of you guys have ever done any diatom photography. It's a whole new kind of rabbit hole. The diatoms are little freshwater creatures that live in pond water. They're like starfish, echinoderms, I think, something like that. And they have a calcium skeleton, and the skeletons are utterly breathtaking and gorgeous. So what you do is you have to collect the diatoms and then spin them down and treat them with all kinds of chemicals to get rid of the tissue part, and what you're left with is these gorgeous structures. And I really have been wanting to do that. I did it years ago, and it's fun. It's difficult, but I need to get an old used microscope and do that with. You've really got to use a compound scope to do it. But I wonder if I could do it with my upright system. Maybe I could. Anyway, yeah. That wasn't what you asked, was it, Gilles? You asked if you didn't ask anything. You were just telling me the micromate has been with you for a year. Is it good? Do you like it? I know several people who use a stepper rig to advance the focus on their microscope, but they don't use the micromate that I know of. I bet when I get a microscope, that WeMacro will be willing to let me borrow one for a while. All right. Patrick, you built one from an ancient watch and a drilling machine. That sounds cool. You built a micromate for the microscope, or you built one of my boxes for the rail? Be interested to know. I'd like to know how you did that. And I figured you meant clicking and not coughing. I've never heard a gear cough. Blair, you did not teleport away. So maybe it was just the line on my computer went wonky at that moment in time. It's doing it again right now. I don't understand it. Has my signal been fairly consistent? Let me see. Dropped frames, 0%. That's good. Isn't this the fiber internet a wonderful thing? It's after really having severe PTSD from Mediacom. Yeah, it's so wonderful not to worry about it. Do you want to see something absolutely amazing? Something that made me laugh out loud? I got an envelope from Mediacom, and I knew what it was. It was going to be, even though I dropped their modem off and told them never to contact me again and paid my bill, I knew it was going to be a bill. It was a check. Mediacom sent me a refund check of $37. I could not believe it. I was just thrilled to bits. It shows you that, you know, you don't know everything. You think you do, but you don't, as my mother used to tell me. All right, where are we? Robbie, you made it. Well done. Better late than never. And let me see. Marco, good to have you. Yeah. I have no idea how much a New Zealand dollar is, or an Australian dollar, or any other dollars. I don't really know how much our dollars are worth, really. Let me see. There must be a question here somewhere, and I do not want to miss it and run out of time. We've covered a lot already. Let me look at my list before I look for the questions. Don't forget to ring the bell if you want to know when I'm doing a spontaneous live stream. I mean, it's unlikely that anybody sits around wondering what I'm doing during the day. But if you do, ring do the bell thing, and you'll see exactly what I'm do during the day, which is work. All right, I think I've covered everything on my list. Oh, did we get to the target? No, but we're only. Oh my goodness, we did get close, didn't we? There's a way I can set this up so that the financial thing will actually have a ticker thing on it, but I didn't have time to do it tonight. We'll just pretend. We'll just make something up. Anaphylaxis, which is the best by far name I have heard ever in my life, loves diatoms. That's fantastic. Then diatoms it is. We need to, just because of the name, we need to do that. Are you actually also an Anna? That would be the question. If you're a Bob, this isn't going to be as good a discovery, I don't think. Let me see. We have a Kashmiri visitor, which is fantastic. And I'm going to try to pronounce your name, Amir Makbul. Gosh, I hope I didn't just say something offensive when I did that. I'm glad you like the videos. We like making them. Thank you. Photographer 85, greetings from Allan 1. Thanks for all the videos. Well, you're welcome. That's what I love to do is make those videos. And you're trying to get into bigger magnifications, and you got the L Nickel 63. The L Nickel 63. Give me just a second to open up my browser. Oh no, this is where I accidentally shut off YouTube every time. I don't know about that one. There are a couple of the L Nickels that I was less excited about. Do you know if that's the F4 or the F2.8? Let me know before in the comments, and I'll do some homework on that and get back to you. I have a sinking feeling that that's one of the lenses I tried and didn't like a long time ago, but that might have been the 80. Anyway, let me see. Who am I ignoring rudely? Either way, photographer 85 will get you on the right track. If that's not the best lens, we'll give you some other ideas of things that might be. Obviously the one I recommend is the 50 2.8N, which is just the sharpest lens. It's my favorite lens actually. Let me see. Yeah, all kinds of things like chemicals and materials of all kinds under light. Anything birefringent looks cool, and definitely we'll get into all of that. If we get into the diatoms, all of that comes with it, and that would be a lot of videos. Helicon has Helicon Remote, which supports controlling Wii Macro. Does it? Okay, I didn't know that. I've never used the focusing device that you can buy from Helicon. I mean, I have that built into my camera. Somebody was telling me the other day that they have a new camera. Oh, it was the Olympus OM1, I think it was. That has the in-camera focus stacking, not just the focus bracketing. and was very impressed with it. I mean, I've seen the camera. I've actually used the camera outdoors, but I've not focus stacked with it in camera. All right, let me see. How much magnification would be necessary for diatoms? Well, they are teeny tiny, to use a medical term. I'll have to look that up. I'm guessing they're probably not even 50 microns. There are big ones too. I mean, they're animals, so they come in different sizes. But let me see. It's okay for me to cheat. So that kind of 20 to 200 microns. Well, that puts me right smack in the middle of it. So if they're 200 microns, probably 5 times would be good to be. You want to photograph them in groups rather than. I'll share my screen with you. Hang on. You want to photograph them in groups rather than just one at a time because they're little. Let's see if I can get the images to show. There we go. Yeah, this is what they look like, and the idea is to get them lit beautifully so that all of the weird three-dimensional shapes show, and people who are really good at it get some breathtaking photographs. So you can use pretty much as much magnification as you're going to be able to use on a camera rig. I would certainly not hesitate to use the full 20x and see what I could get on one of these big ones. There you go. That's the kind of picture that I'm talking about. Well, you can't make it get bigger than that, I guess. Anyway, beautiful, beautiful pictures. So that's in our future. Diatoms in the future. I nearly closed it, and that's got my eBay. I mean my eBay YouTube thing on it. All right, let me see. I'm trying to race back to the questions because I know I have to answer all of them if I can. So, how much magnification would be necessary? I guess you could see them at 4x or 5x, but probably to see them well 10x or greater. I can't remember what I used to use other than a cheap finite objective. Alrighty. Mike Costco has 8.7-inch Samsung Android tablets for $110. Yes, that is a brilliant point. Thanks for bringing that up, Mike. I know that tablets the way to go. In fact, in the perfect world, I'd have a tablet on some kind of a mount right next to the system, so I could just punch it in like a controller. And William said that as well. The thing is, my tablet is it's an Apple. It's the first iPad, literally the first one they ever made. I mean, number one, I think. It's rubbish. It doesn't do anything. It's like one of those leapfrog things that kids play with. You can make tunes by pressing the buttons, but yeah, it doesn't do anything else. It wouldn't work on this. I tried it, but that's it. A cheap tablet. Send me your ID so I can get into Costco because they won't let me go in there anymore. Oh dear, I joined Costco. My wife had she loved to go there, so we had a membership and I had a card, and for 10 years I was a member because they kept renewing my membership, and I kept telling people I couldn't go to Costco because I wasn't a member. I didn't know I was. Finally somebody talked me into going and getting a membership, and I did, and that's when I discovered I'd been paying to be a member for a decade, and I was so angry I didn't get a membership. I just walked out. Life is funny, isn't it? All right. Who's having a rest week? Borderland. No peppers being sold this week. Is diatomaceous earth a valid substitute for collecting diatoms? No, it's a very lazy alternative. If you yeah, it really is. It's just mud, I think. Aren't they all broken up though? Yeah, that kind of dirt you're talking about is just sand from pulverized skeletons, I think, of those things. All right, there is an L-Nickel 63F 3.5. Yeah, that's ringing the bell. I didn't think it was one of the super fast ones, but I don't know. Somebody know it? Yes, photographer 85 knows it. Not supposedly as good, but it fetches a higher price because of a misprint. Wow, that I didn't know. Apparently, the Nikon brochure said that it was corrected well into the UV range, and it was just a typo. So all the blind people that have that particular lens are probably pretty aggravated with Nikon for that. There you go. Helicon is just software for controlling cameras. Yeah, it's Helicon something or other that they tube. That's right, Helicon tube. Blair, I get the feeling you're a Helicon guy all the way. Well, we need to talk sometime. I tried it again recently. Still not able to do the retouching the way I need. Oh, C. Saken, yeah, you won the competition. Did somebody tell you that I could? I have no idea who you are because of that, because of the way you spell your name. But oh, it's not cryptic. It's your name. You're Hungarian. I cannot believe that. That is the most embarrassed I've been in hours. So that's your real name, and I spent 10 minutes making fun of it because I thought you'd made it up. I am so sorry. It's a good thing it's already past 9 o'clock because I'm getting ready to go crimson in the face for that. Congratulations on winning the competition, but my God, and it's pronounced Chuckham. Oh God, Mr. Chuckham, I am so sorry, or Mrs. Chuckham. I do apologize, but congratulations on. Have you been to my website to see your picture on the homepage? You must go. And by the way, has everybody submitted a picture for this month? It's the wild card. I haven't been over there, been too busy. I've got to go. I'm only allowed to do this till 9. So yeah, thank you guys. This was great. It was great fun, and I know I didn't get to everybody's question, but I guess that's a good sign. I'll hire a moderator as soon as we break $120 on the drive. Okay, mash the like button, y'all. That was what Macro Everything Around Me said, but I'll second it. But ring the bell is the important one if you want to come watch me pick my nose while I edit video. Probably not. 3 versions of the 63. There is an f2.8. You know what? I'm going to have to do some homework on that. I'll get back to you on it next week. It's not your real name. It's a handle. You know what? I'm so confused now. I'm just going to go with Chuckham because that's the second best name after anaphylaxis, which is my favorite. All right, guys. I'm out of here. Gosh, that was fun. I hope everybody has a fantastic week. Patreon, don't forget Saturday. We're going to do the Zoom thing on Saturday. And the next big item coming up is the 8th for Patreon. The 9th for the rest of the world will be the video of the conversation with Steve Axford. Do not miss that. It's going to be a blast. I'm so looking forward to it. He's a funny guy too. I'll tell you what he said next time we talk. Have a great evening, and I'll see you guys next Tuesday at 8 o'clock, if not before. Adios.